So welcome to the Azonto Time press conference. We're sorry this didn't go out live, but we had some problems with the venue down here in Mill Hill, so we've had to relocate. But we're going to be staging the conference in 2 sections, or possibly 3 sections, to ensure that we can fit everybody in the camera shots. Tomorrow night, or Saturday night at 6 o'clock, the whole event will be shown live on boxingevolution.tv. Commentators will be Kevin Campion and Mene Edwards, so there's a lot to look forward to. The whole show will be able to be seen live, so that's great, and that's going to be an ongoing thing with all the Goodwin shows. We're here today, we've got some questions sent in. Matt from Boxing Evolution has had some questions sent in by Twitter to him, so we're going to be dealing with that, plus any other questions that anybody wishes to have. We'll be interviewing Richard Commey and his team later on, and Richard, as we know, is fighting for the Commonwealth title, and there's a lot to say about that and the Derry Matthews escapade that has been dragging on forever. But today, on this particular section, I'm joined by, on the far left, Jamie Hearn, one of the most exciting cruiserweights around. His last fight, he demolished Larry Olabamiwo in 1 round, and he looked very good in doing it, and he faces Igor Barusha, who just recently went the distance with Simon Barclay on a Frank Warren show. One of the most exciting light middleweights in the country is next to Jamie, that's Ben Hall. He's known as a sensation, and that's a very apt name. Anybody that watched him fight Jason McArdle on his debut will see that Jason McArdle spent the whole time running around the ring and running away from him rather than fighting him, and that's testament to Ben's power. On my right, we've got the exciting London heavyweight AJ Carter. AJ's 6-0 now, with 4 stoppages, and he's looking to make waves through the heavyweight scene. There are plenty of problems in finding him opponents though, and on an ongoing basis, but that's something we have to deal with as he progresses and puts fear into his opponents. And at the far right, Leon McKenzie, former professional footballer, now undefeated professional boxer. Leon has probably his toughest test as he moves up to 6 rounds on Saturday and faces Danny Brown, who's coming off of a draw and a win in his last 2 starts. So Leon will be expected to be in an exciting fight, but one that we do expect Leon to win. On the left of me is my son Josh, who is the world's youngest promoter, and he's head promoter of this event, alongside myself and Mickey Amu from Streetwise Promotions. So we'll start off with Jamie at the end. What can everybody expect from you, Jamie, on the Saturday night?
You tell me, Steve. We'll never know what Jamie's going to turn up. We'll have to wait and see, mate. I can't really be bothered with it, but it is what it is, isn't it?
Ben, you've got a hard fight Saturday, considering your opponent pulled out on Monday. So you're now taking on Danny Shannon, who's had a draw in his only fight. He's a tough kid from the Queensbury League. I mean, do you know much about him?
I had a little look on YouTube. I saw his pro fight. He got a draw with a fellow who's undefeated in 2. He looks a bit of a poser, to be honest. I don't think he's in my class, so hopefully get the stoppage.
Yeah. Do you expect him to get rid of him?
Yeah, his defence ain't as good as I'll get him out.
Okay, be excited to watch.
Yeah, we'll do.
And the far side, Leon's got a prior engagement with his daughter, so we'll get him brought in very quickly. So Leon, what are we expecting to see stepping up to 6 rounds?
You'll see more improved again, Leon McKenzie. Every fight to me is a tough fight. I respect everyone that gets in, and I'm ready to go. I'm fit. I'm well. We've had a good camp, and it's going to be exciting.
So how's the professional career going with yourself? You're 6-0 now, aren't you? But we had a bit of a disaster on the last show where your opponent failed his medical on the day, so it was a bit frustrating, wasn't it?
It was frustrating, but that's part and parcel of boxing. I just have to carry on and keep going. I'm even more up for today or on Saturday, simply because I missed out on the fight, so I need to catch up on that.
Brilliant. So have we got any questions out there, either from anybody that's here or from the...
Yeah, first of all, we have a question from Fender Johansson to Jamie Hearn. He says, I'm a Waddy Camacho fan and see you've been calling him out. Are you crazy as you would not last 2 rounds with Waddy?
Listen, dickhead, right, I've been talking to you on Twitter, you're a fool. Right? Waddy, as we all know, Waddy has got a bigger mouth than what I got, and as soon as I called Waddy out, he's been quiet. He actually asked for my number on private, and I gave it to him. We had a conversation. I actually quite like Waddy. He's a good geezer, but it's not even Waddy I want to fight now. It's this little, what's his name?
Dixon.
Yeah, he can. No, this little turd twitting.
Oh, well, best of Joe Hanson.
Yeah, you can have it. You turn up at the fight, I'll fight you and Wad on the same night and all, you idiot. Keep wasting my time.
Okay, got a question here for AJ Carter. When do you think you're going to fight for a title, and how do you assess how your career's gone so far?
Well, my career's been going brilliantly so far. Like I said, I will have ideally 10 to 15 fights, learning fights, as I never had an amateur career. But whatever Steve, my promoter, and Derek Williams, my manager, whoever they put me in with, or whenever they say to step up, I'll step up.
Okay. And we have a question for Ben Hall here, from Greg Budgeon. He says, I was at your first fight and was impressed. Hopefully this time the opponent won't run from you. How far do you think you can go in boxing?
Got another one. Oh, God. No, I don't think this fella will run. I've seen a bit of him. He's a bit more game, I think, than the other fella. And I think I can go all the way. I've got the ability. I think my ability level now is as good as any light middleweight in Britain, I think. But it's just getting used to the rounds and getting used to the experience. It's just the one we're doing 4-rounders and they're doing no more. But I think ability-wise and talent, I think I'm just up there with them already, really.
Okay, cool. And last of all, we've got a question for Leon. How do you think fighting a southpaw this weekend would affect you? Secondly, you're moving up to 6 rounds against a fighter who's fought over 8 rounds. Is that a disadvantage?
Won't make a difference.
And that's from Andrew Norris.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew, but it won't make a difference.
Okay, that's the end of it. Okay, back to Steve. Any other questions from anyone in the room?
No.
Okay.
Right, well, that concludes this part of the conference, and we'll be back with some more guests in a minute.
Okay, cool.
So welcome to the second part of our press conference, and we've already met Josh here, and on my right hand side I've got one of the real most exciting light welterweights in the country, now ranked in the top 10 in Britain. That's Phil Bowes. He's 8-0, ready to win English and British titles in the next 12 months, I have no doubt. Further right, we've got Miles Shinkwin, light heavyweight prospect, and I suppose he's not really a prospect anymore. He faces Mitch Mitchell on Saturday before fighting Joel McIntyre in July for the Southern Area title, which we have no doubt he'll win. Before, again, Miles will definitely be up to British title level within the next 12 months. On the left, we have one of the most exciting lightweights in the world, Richard Commey. 17 fights, 17 wins and 17 stoppages. Nobody wants to fight this young man, and sometimes I think I'm ashamed to be British because none of the British fighters want to step in the ring with him, and we'll discuss more about that later. Next to Richard, we have Mickey Amu from Streetwise Promotions, who is co-promoting this event. Mickey is responsible for doing fantastic things for Ghanaian boxing, and he's done a brilliant job with Richard in bringing him over to the UK and showcasing him here. And on the left of Mickey is one of the one of the best trainers around, Cole Loco, who trains Richard and has come over to England with Richard to train him specifically for this fight and forthcoming fights afterwards. So it's an exciting day. We're making history on Saturday. It's the first time that 2 Ghanaians have fought for a Commonwealth title on UK soil. And people may think, why 2 Ghanaians? Well, it's very simple, because no British fighter wanted to fight Richard. Derry Matthews, I'll leave that to Mickey to discuss that in a while. Derry Matthews kept and continued to miss deadlines, and in the end the Commonwealth Council stripped him of his title. He then says he wants to fight Richard after this. Well, I think there's as much chance of that as me flying to the moon, because he'll just talk about wanting to fight him but won't do it. And if you're watching Derry, the fight's here for you. When we were trying to match the fight after Derry Matthews was stripped, I spoke to Eddie Hearn and I said to Eddie that any one of his lightweights we would fight. We didn't even have to discuss money. Eddie was not interested at all, didn't want to put any of his lightweights in with Richard, and they continued to do a round robin of British fighters fighting each other, all claiming they're world class but not wanting to fight a world class fighter. At the end of the day, Richard beats any one of them, and they all want to fight each other. As I say, we've got Buckland fighting Reese again, we've just had Crolla Murray, and we've had Gethin Matthews, and they will just rejuvenate and fight themselves. How can you be world class if you won't fight a world class fighter and you just want to fight domestic level fighters? That's our point, and we're out there. We're offering any one of them now, any British lightweight that's got the balls to step up. Richard Commey's here, he's in England, he's ready, he's waiting, and he's ready to stop you and add you to his victims. Moving on. Well, we've got to say what we believe, and that's what we are. Richard isn't here to play games. Well, I'd like to now pass the mic on to Mickey Amu, who's co-promoting the event, and he'll talk more about what happened, why Derry was stripped of the title, and the hopes that he has for Richard ongoing.
Thank you, Steve. I'll try and follow that. Basically, first of all, thank you for everyone for turning up today. Yeah, Richard is in the country, obviously, to progress his career. He's been fighting in Ghana, and obviously his record stands for itself. He now has to progress his career, and this is the next level for Richard, coming to the UK, fighting some UK-based fighters that, as Steve says, has claimed that obviously they're world class. We won't disrespect anybody. We've respected all fighters in asking them to volunteer to fight Richard, but obviously we've had doors closed in our face. The situation with Derry Matthews is we had a final eliminator, as you all know, with Paul Truscott last year, and we was led to believe that we would be fighting Derry Matthews, which he then subsequently fought, Curtis Woodhouse, who wasn't even on the Commonwealth contenders list. He fought Curtis Woodhouse, then he went and fought Stephen Ormond and lost, and that was when we was told that we would fight him, but obviously he ducked us again, so we had to wait. Richard had another fight in Ghana where he won the ABU title, the African Boxing Union title, which gave him a WBC world ranking, and we came over to the UK obviously specifically to fight Derry Matthews. It wasn't our intention to have Derry stripped, we really wanted this fight. But such was the avoidance from Matthews, not just Derry but his camp as well. We had phone calls stating that Derry would never fight Richard. We had people calling myself and Steve Goodwin saying that the fight would never happen, and lo and behold it never happened. You know, whatever reasons they give out, whatever reasons they say, the fight didn't happen. Subsequently, because Derry Matthews was injured, but funnily enough he had a fight last week, so he was able to fight then but not able to fight Richard. So we had to wait. Derry got stripped of his title. So me and Steve, we asked around every lightweight possible contender that we could find in the UK to fight Richard, and again we got the doors closed in our face for one reason or another. But obviously when you've got a record of 17-0 and 17 stoppages, people think twice about fighting you, because obviously they want to keep their record intact. But as I say, if you want to progress, you've got to fight the best. And Richard, I believe Richard has got the potential to go a very long way in the sport. I believe that sincerely, and so does Steve. That's why we're here. We've had to negotiate with a couple of people, a couple of fighters, because obviously the door got slammed in our face. So now we've found Benjamin Ashley, who Simon Block from the Commonwealth Council agreed that we could fight. He has a record of 17 wins and 1 loss. Is that right, Carl? Yeah. 17 wins and 1 loss. He's a very tough fighter. He's in the light welterweight Commonwealth rankings, but he's agreed to take the fight. We've spoken to his management on a few occasions, and he's been training hard. And obviously, it's a great opportunity for him to come to the UK to obviously take a title back home to Ghana, just like Richard wants to do. So we're expecting a tough fight on Saturday. We're expecting, him to be strong, as most Ghanaians are, as I know, but we're confident of victory. We're very confident of victory. We're very confident that Richard will do a number on him and progress. Once we've got the Commonwealth title, then obviously other doors open. We're also looking to the IBF Intercontinental title later on in the summer, probably at end of July at some point, or on Steve Goodwin's show on July the 12th, is it? We're looking to fight then for the Intercontinental title. And if all that falls into place, that will all give Richard a world ranking. That obviously these fighters that are avoiding him or don't want to fight him, well, if they want to progress at world level, so they say they are, then they're going to have to come and fight someone who's in their country, who's openly willing to fight any one of them. No purse, no money has been said, no for any cost. I mean, Richard just wants to progress his career. He feels that here and now is the place to do that. We feel here and now is the place to do that. And we just want to. Listen, win, lose or draw, it's going to be a fantastic experience for Richard and ourselves, because, as I said, we believe that Richard can go a long way, but we'll only find that out if people step up to the plate who call themselves world class fighters, if they step up to the plate, then we shall see. You know, we will not hide from any lightweight in the country. Anything you want to say, Carl?
Carl, yeah.
Well, I'll just hand you to Carl Loco, who's Richard's trainer.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm happy to be here today, all because of boxing, and I love boxing very well. That is why all the time I follow boxing. And secondly, I'm happy to work with the team that I'm working with regards to talking about Steve as a promoter and his team, and Mikemu also as our manager, and I mean a whole lot that you have been doing for us. We choose to do boxing, and we have to put all effort that we have to do regards to the trainer and the boxer. I always make sure Richard has to be ready and be ready for any time, because to be a boxer is not easy, so you have to be ready at any time. When you are trying to avoid people, it's like you are not ready to do it. I'm not saying no one should avoid anyone. In boxing, we know people used to do it. But when the time comes, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it, because you have to be ready to do it. So for now, we are prepared and focused for the Saturday to make sure we come up victorious to win the Commonwealth belt. Then from there, we move from there. So for now, I think we are okay, ready for Saturday. That's it.
I'll pass you on to Richard. Say a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. I thank God for this day, and I thank Goodwin Promotion for giving me another opportunity to fight on this show, which is going to be on Saturday for the Commonwealth title. And I'm very excited. I've prepared myself well for this fight. I'm not only excited that I'm going to win, but I'm excited because it's two Ghanaians fighting for, Commonwealth title in the UK, And, after that, I'm not the kind of person who tries to, tag any boxer, If any of the best lightweights here in the UK want to fight, after winning this Saturday, the doors are open. I'm ready to take any of them on. I'm not scared of any of them. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to train for and win, and that's what it's all about. I once again want to thank my sponsors, MMMP, that's Midland Mini Piling, Hammer Nutrition, ARC Electricals, Hatch. It's been very good for me. It's always taking care of my body. And then I thank my coach as well, Carl Loco and Chris Barnes. They're doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Richard. And I think what he's trying to say, which is what we're trying to say, is we get frustrated, but it's there. I mean, we're talking about, and it's not just Eddie Hearn fighters. Kurt Goodings didn't want it, and all the other top 10 fighters, they just want to apply their trade against each other and look to fight each other. But hopefully, over the next 6 to 12 months, they'll be forced to come out and fight, and then we'll see who the better people are. And we think it's Richard. So, but as Richard said, the doors are open. Any lightweight in the country, if they want to prove they're world class, can come and try. So Josh, what's it like being involved in a promotion of this magnitude?
Just on my second one, it's a great thing to be involved in, especially me being the youngest, and it's just a great experience and learning all the time.
So moving to the right, let's not forget our other top quality prospects on the right hand side here. So Phil, this is your first 10 rounder, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a step up, but you're moving in the right direction. You beat Appleby. Then you looked fantastic against Dean Mills last time, and the power seems to be coming. And how do you feel your career's progressing, and what can we expect to see from you on Saturday?
Well, basically, the power's coming on because I've been doing a lot of weights for this camp. Also, it all changed for me when I fought Appleby regarding, he was the youngest ever British champion. So I mean, beating someone like that, of that magnitude, gives you a lot of self-confidence. They call me Quicksilver for a reason. I'm slippery, I'm fast, I'm kind of hard to get hit. As I said, Francis Maynard isn't the prize on Saturday night. Saturday night, the prize will be International Masters title. He's just like the stumbling block in my way at the moment. And Saturday night, you see a lot of skills, a lot of speed, showmanship. And that's it.
Well, Phil's also managed by Mickey, who manages Richard, so have a chat about how you think Phil's career's going, Nick.
Yeah, me and Phil have been together since Phil's been an amateur boxer. He's progressed very well. Phil is a unique boxer in the UK. I believe next year he will be going on to British titles. He has got tremendous speed. He's got tremendous defensive skills. He's like any other fighter in the UK. Again, he's one of those fighters that not a lot of people are going to come forward to fight. He's in line for the Southern Area title. He's in the top 10 in the UK. And we believe that, yeah, we're looking at opponents for the Southern Area, but people seem to be, again, moving one way or the other instead of maybe facing Philip. So hopefully by the end of the year, Philip will get a Southern Area title shot. But I believe once you will see the skills of Philip, you'll see a different style of fighter, a very exciting, sharp, slick, good-looking sportsman. I honestly believe, you can look for yourself. He knows that, I know it. And next year, watch out for Phil, because yeah, Quicksilver will be coming.
I think this is a table laden with talent. I mean, on Saturday night you can watch the Hennessy Bill, Leon Senior fights Ajisaf and the other semi-final that they've got. But we believe that the best light heavyweight in the country is fighting on our show on Saturday night, so they can show what they like on Channel 5. But Miles Shinkwin is somebody that I believe in 6 months will beat any of them, and I think he'll probably beat most of them now. But he's just waiting for that break to come through. On a Saturday he fights Mitch Mitchell, and then Joel McIntyre will be his next victim in July when he wins the Southern Area title. So Miles, how's it all going, and what can we expect for you over the next few months?
It's all going really well, Steve. Good 6 rounds hopefully on Saturday. When he had 6 rounds since last July competitive, because I've been getting bigger and stronger and knocking people out. So hopefully 6 solid rounds on Saturday. I've heard McIntyre's comes to watch, so hopefully it's like a little treat to let him watch. And then I've heard today that he says he's going to stop me in 8 rounds, which is quite interesting. So on to July after that, and I can't wait now. Now I've heard that, it's just give me kick up the backside that I need really. So good luck to him, is what I can say. Saturday and for July.
We've got any questions to any of the guests here? Danny Wright from Boxway.
Got a question for Richard and Nicky and Carl on the team. Did you see the Matthews fight against Geffen?
Yeah, we watched it together, yeah.
And what are your opinions on both boxers, bearing in mind it was for a British title?
If I was to be honest, we sat there and we wasn't overly impressed. If I was to be honest, we're not being rude, we're not being disrespectful. But if we was to be honest, we wasn't overly impressed. It was a fight. It was an even fight, but it was lacking in excitement. It was for a British title fight. They seemed to just, in my opinion, go through the motions. You know, nothing really happened. You couldn't see any one of them getting stopped. You know, we got to the end of the 12th, and it could have been the 5th round or the 7th round. It didn't. There wasn't nothing for us to look at and say, well, sure, we don't want to get in there. I mean, in fact, we was kind of, wish we was there that night. You know, we could have had, you know what I mean. You know what I mean, the Commonwealth title off Derry Matthews that night. You know what I mean. So it was a bit disappointing watching it, but at the same time, looking at it and watching what we saw, there was nothing really for us to worry about.
Also, just to add about, you know, Ghana, and from my point of view, Ghana has had a lot of boxers over the years that have come over and done a service for UK boxing.
Right, yeah.
And I'm reminded of a situation where I think Jamie Cox fought on both side for a Commonwealth title. And I had side winning the fight. And I thought Jamie Cox probably could have been disqualified.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's perhaps, bearing in mind that Ghanaian boxers have done quite a lot for UK boxing, do you think there's a little bit of disrespect shown in general?
Disrespect is a strong word. You know, there's an obvious use of Ghanaian boxers when it comes to Commonwealth titles. We've found that out in obviously our quest for the Commonwealth title, how difficult it's been to get to this stage, you know, because we have a live fighter. If Richard wasn't a live fighter, if Richard was a fighter with 17 wins and 6 losses, and we would have got a fight with anyone for the Commonwealth title. But he's a fighter with 17 wins, 17 stoppages. All of a sudden, the Commonwealth title isn't. no one wants to fight for it. You know, as Steve said, we asked everybody, and all of a sudden, the Commonwealth title isn't worthy. You know, so disrespect is a strong word, but I would say, look, at the end of the day, you know, if you want to progress your career and you want titles, if you're in the game for titles, then you go out and fight for them. You know, at the end of the, and we look at it and, well, managers, promoters, they're protecting their fighters, but what are they protecting them from? Sooner or later they're going to run into someone that is as good as Richard or as good as Philip, and they're going to get whipped. So you might as well, you know what I mean, find out what you're putting your money into and being honest with your fighters, you know. And you know what I mean, sooner or later Richard's going to fight for the Commonwealth title. Well, Saturday's going to fight for it, and he's going to go on, and they're going to have to come and find out for themselves, you know. But I don't think it's disrespect. I just think people are just protecting their interests, and you know what I mean. And that's the way it's been. But obviously we're knocking down the door because we have a live fighter now in Richard, and hopefully it will open the door, and hopefully, you know what I mean, it will give others a chance to, especially from Ghana as well, to see this can be done, rather than being brought over here as cannon fodder, you know, being given late notice for a fight, or you know what I mean, small purses for a fight, or even being brought in, do you know what I mean, a weight or 2 weights below the fight that they should be fighting in. You know, Ghana is the second largest affiliate in the Commonwealth, and if Ghanaian fighters are going to come over and fight for the Commonwealth, at least the fights should be is competitive, at least. You know, we can't remember the last time a Ghanaian fighter had a hope of winning a fight in the UK. And like you said, with a Buddy Sai, I mean, it was a disgraceful. You know, I mean, you saw it yourself. It was the referee should have been disqualified, Jamie Cox, and up until today, Buddy Sai hasn't had his opportunity to fight for that. I mean, it's very bad. He hasn't had his opportunity to fight for the Commonwealth, and the reaction of the Ghanaian trainers on that night, the board even tried to stop their money, which was ridiculous. You know what I mean? Because they was upset. Yeah, they tried to stop. They tried to hold their purse back because they was upset, and obviously they acted angrily to the result. You know, and little things like that don't give you confidence. But obviously, we've got confidence in Richard, and hopefully, you know what I mean, we'll knock down the door, and hopefully it will get better.
We'll pass something on to Carl now.
Yeah, I'll go straight to Jim Cox talking about the border side. This thing is very, very bad to us, talking about boxing in Ghana, especially the trainers back home, because it's very hard for us to get one guy or one boxer who normally pass through. I'm over here talking about fighting the British bosses over here. So when we get one who is trying to do good and they're trying to not make them the guys happy to be in the system, is very, very bad for us. I mean, I'm speaking this for the old Ghanaians and the Ghanaian trainers. Since this thing happened to Boda side, you can see the name of the Boda side is nowhere to be found. They have even dumped the boy. They keep promising him, you'll be coming to fight this day. Then they promise him again, they cancel the fight. As of now, nothing is going on for the boy. So whoever is listening to me and whatever I'm talking about, Boda side is still ready to come and fight for that belt. Whoever is having it, I mean it, serious. Regards to the other one, we're talking about watching Derry Matthews and Martin Geffen. I mean, I don't know if they are really lightweights on that night. I saw them like a bantamweights who are fighting because they couldn't throw a punch that I felt can hurt. Yeah, serious, I mean it. And if they are listening to me, I just hedging them to push whatever they are doing and doing it serious, because I don't think that fight will be their last fight in their career. They are planning to go higher than that. They are planning to fight the better lightweights over there. Not to talk about Richie, fine. There are better ones there also that they can meet at any time. So if you are kind of throwing this kind of punch, I don't know where you want to go. So I'm just telling them that they are not ready for the lightweight. But if they know they are ready, especially Derry Matthews, we need him to come down.
I think we'd all agree that a Richard Derry Matthews fight would be very interesting indeed while it lasts. But I don't think it's something we'll ever see. Any other questions? You got any from the London list? Okay, well, thanks very much for everybody for coming today, and thanks for Boxing Evolution TV for filming it. And I hope you tune in and watch Richard Commey on Saturday night, 6 o'clock, boxingevolution.tv. Thanks a lot.